Welcome to this Sparsholt College Group tutorial program podcast, where we will be looking at climate change and sustainability. Sustainability. All life on Earth depends on the environment. There are 4 basic necessities that humans, animals and plants need to live. These are air, water, soil and sun. So what does sustainability mean? Sustainability means the ability to keep going or to continue. Sustainability in terms of our planet means the ability for us to meet our own needs for clean air, water and food in a way that ensures that there will be enough resources for future generations. As the population grows and we deplete these resources by overusing fossil fuels and destroying forests, the Earth is becoming less able to provide an environment in which we can live safely. The good news is that at the United Nations Development Summit in 2015, a plan was written to find new ways to improve the lives of the world's people, to eradicate poverty, to promote prosperity and well-being for all, to protect the environment and to fight against climate change. The plan listed 17 goals for countries, governments and industries to work towards. You can research these 17 goals after this podcast episode. So what can we do to make a difference? Making small changes can have a great impact. We'll be looking at reducing your carbon footprint, changing your eating habits, and recycling, repurposing and reusing your things. Your carbon footprint. A carbon footprint is a measure of the impact our activities have on the environment. It calculates the greenhouse gases we are expected to produce in all our activities and measures them in units of carbon dioxide. The world average is about 4,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide per person per year, but in the UK it is nearly 10,000 kilograms per person per year. You can reduce your carbon footprint and help the environment in many different ways, whether you're at home, work, college, or while you're out with your friends. Small changes can make a difference. To reduce your carbon footprint, you will need to do things like reduce the amount of energy you use, eat fewer animal products, shop locally, travel smartly, and reduce the amount of waste you throw into landfill. Your eating habits. Did you know that you can make a positive impact on the environment by your food choices? The food you eat makes up a fair proportion of your carbon footprint. Knowing how far it has travelled and how it has been stored is essential if you want to reduce the environmental impact. This is not about eating less, but about eating in a more sustainable way. Food miles describes how far food has travelled to get to you. The further the food has to travel, the worse it is for the environment, because it will have been transported by lorry, boat or plane using fuels that harm the environment. Obviously there will be foods that are more difficult to grow in our climate, bananas and pineapples for example, but for much of the fruits and vegetables you eat every day, try to look for locally grown produce. If you eat food that has been grown locally, it won't have travelled as far to reach you, and that means it will have had less of an impact on the environment. Eating seasonally means eating foods that are naturally in harvest at a certain time of the year. A good example would be strawberries in the summer months and Brussels sprouts at Christmas. Eating seasonal produce that have been grown in this country means the food is fresher, it has not been transported so far to reach the shops, and it is better for the UK economy. You can make a difference by checking where your food has been grown and choosing local produce, eating seasonal fruits and vegetables, supporting local markets and farmers' markets, and growing your own fruit and vegetables. Did you know supermarkets reject vegetables and fruits that are misshapen? They throw them away even though they taste exactly the same as the perfectly formed ones. Food waste in landfill. When food is put in the rubbish bin, it goes to landfill. Food waste is very damaging to the environment because its gases are released while the items of food waste decompose. As they rot, the food waste releases methane, which is a very potent greenhouse gas. You can make a difference by reducing food waste by planning your shopping. The less food you buy and waste, the less money you spend. Putting uneaten food in the fridge or freezer and eat it another day. Learning to cook. It is cheaper, tastier and better for you and the environment. Takeaway food should be a treat and not something you eat every day. You can also donate unused or extra food to a food bank. Look in your local supermarket for collections for food banks. You can also make your own packed lunches instead of buying a sandwich from a shop. You can spread the word, talk to your friends and family and tell them about how much food is wasted and what it costs. Encourage them to make changes to their eating habits too. You can check the end dates. Remember, there is a difference between best before dates and a use by date. A best before date is used for food products such as canned food and dried foods. A use by date is used for fresh, ready to eat and chilled foods such as yogurt, milk, meat and fruit juices. The advice is about the quality of the product rather than the date that it has to be thrown away by. Many local authorities issue compost bins for food waste collection. This is then used to make compost, or it may even be recycled to make renewable fuel. If you have one, please use it. What impact do you think the changes you make in your eating habits will have on the global issue of climate change? Some of you may think that one person making changes will make no difference, but they would be wrong. You can make big changes by telling your friends and family about what you've learned so far. They will tell their friends and family, and so on, and soon the numbers that make a difference will increase. Recycling. We are now going to think about how you can help to reduce your carbon footprint by recycling. Making small changes can have a great impact. We will be looking at recycling paper, tin, glass and plastic, recycling, repurposing and reusing your things, and reducing your energy consumption. Annie Leonard is passionate about sustainability and is a critic of consumerism. In 2014, she became the executive director of Greenpeace USA. Annie Leonard stated, "There is no such thing as a way. When you throw something away, it must go somewhere. Away is not some magical place. It is landfill, an incinerator, the bottom of the ocean, or in the stomach of an animal. It is always somewhere else." The UK produces 26 million tonnes of waste products per year. 12 million tonnes are recycled, and 14 million tonnes are sent to landfill sites. This gives us an average recycling rate of 45%, which is well below most of the countries in Europe. The UK government waste plan is to reuse and recycle 65% of waste by 2035. You can make a difference and help raise the recycling rate. Recycling paper has several benefits both for humans and the earth. Using recycled paper to make new paper reduces the number of trees that are cut down, conserving natural resources. Recycling paper saves landfill space and reduces the amount of pollution in the air from incineration and the production of greenhouse gases. Paper can be recycled between 5 and 7 times before the paper fibres break down and are unusable. You can make a difference by recycling or reusing paper, cardboard packaging and boxes. Knowing what can and cannot be recycled. Buying recycled writing and wrapping paper, and not buying foil or metal wrapping paper. Making glass by recycling old glass uses less emissions than making it from raw materials. By recycling glass, we are reducing our impact on the environment and reducing landfill. The long-lasting nature of glass means that glass can be recycled forever. It never wears out as a raw material, so old bottles and jars can be remanufactured into new glass containers over and over again. It is really important to recycle glass separately from other materials. It can be recycled at a glass bottle bank, or your local council should have glass collections. You can make a difference by taking bottles to the bottle banks. These are often in supermarket car parks, or take them to your local recycling centre. You can also wash out jam jars and use them to store other things. Metal tins, cans and lids are accepted in all local recycling programmes, provided they are empty, clean and dry. There is no need to remove paper labels. Recycling cans saves a considerable amount of energy. It also reduces carbon dioxide emissions and the amount of waste headed into landfills. Collecting your cans for recycling is an important step you can take to help the environment. The tins and cans are crushed, baled and then sent to a metal recycler. They are then shredded into tiny pieces and melted in a furnace into flat sheets, ready to be reused to make more tins and cans. You can make a difference by recycling all of your tin and metal waste into the correct recycling bins and encouraging others to do the same. Why is plastic pollution such an issue? Plastic pollution is building up in our landfill sites, the oceans, and throughout our natural environment. It is even in the stomachs of many species of wildlife around the world. While recycling efforts can make a difference, we cannot completely recycle our way out of the plastic issue. Did you know that new line plastics are normally made from a fossil fuel, oil, gas, and coal? These are unsustainable resources. The factories making plastic products produce a lot of toxic fumes, which add greenhouse gases to our atmosphere. There are many types of plastic, and they all have many different uses. You can make a difference by recycling or reusing plastic products, knowing what can and cannot be recycled, reducing your use of single-use plastic, and replacing plastic carrier bags with more sustainable ones. By swapping single-use plastics for other materials, you can make a big difference. You can do this by buying one reusable water bottle and stop buying bottled water, using a sandwich box instead of plastic bags for your lunches, finding ways to repurpose plastic containers and bottles, and taking your own bags with you when you go shopping. Managing your things. Just under 336,000 tonnes of clothing ends up in landfill in the UK every year. The good news is that there are plenty of sustainable things you can do to reuse, repurpose and recycle old clothes, rather than throwing them away. Instead of throwing clothes away to go to landfill, you can recycle with your local council or use the recycling points for clothing and textile banks in supermarkets and local car parks. You can also fill up charity bags that get posted through your letterbox. You can donate your clothes to charity shops. This is a double whammy as you're getting rid of your stuff and the charity will be making money by selling it. If you like the idea of having a new wardrobe without spending money, think about attending or even hosting a swapping event. Clothes swapping, known as swishing, involves everyone bringing their old items to trade for new clothes. You can also sell your clothes online on sites like eBay, Vinted or Depop. Do you know what happens to your devices when you throw them away? E-waste is the disposal of electronic devices and accessories like plugs, phones, computers, televisions and games consoles. E-waste is a major problem for the environment. When broken or unwanted electronics are dumped in landfills, toxic substances like lead or mercury can go into soil and water. You can make a difference by looking after your electronic equipment, which means it will last longer. Donating your old gadgets to third world countries. You can check out the Poverty Child websites for more information. Remember to remove your personal data from phones and computers before you donate them. There is a direct link between your energy use and the impact on the environment. You may not yet be responsible for paying the fuel bills in your home, but one day you will have a place of your own. When you consume less energy, you cut down on the number of greenhouse gas emissions released by energy companies and power plants. This helps conserve the Earth's natural resources and protects the ecosystem from damage. Energy use includes gas, electricity, oil and water. You can make a difference by unplugging your phone once it's fully charged, turning off your TV, PlayStation, Xbox and PCs. When they are left on standby, they are still using electricity. Turn off lights when a room is empty. Change your light bulbs to LED bulbs. Lower your thermostat. Just 1 degree can make a difference. Wear an extra layer of clothes, close doors and windows when the heating is on. Use a shower instead of a bath, and don't run the tap when you're cleaning your teeth. You've been given lots of advice on how to reduce your carbon footprint. Make sure you take action now and watch your carbon footprint shrink. Remember, you can manage your carbon footprint by buying local and seasonal food, walking and cycling more, not wasting food, not using single-use plastics, trying out Meatless Monday, recycling things in the correct bins, turning off electrical equipment when not in use, turning off lights, reusing, repurposing and recycling your clothes, and recycling e-waste in the correct bins. Hopefully now you should be feeling more confident about the changes you can make in your daily life to help the fight against global climate change. If you're feeling worried or overwhelmed about anything in this podcast episode, please speak to a member of the wellbeing team for support. Thank you for joining this Sparsholt College Group Tutorial Programme podcast. If you have any questions, please speak to your progress coach.